Here's a question that sounds almost absurd when you first hear it. This past January, temperatures across the northern United States and Canada collapsed in one of the most severe cold waves North America has seen in years. Kirkland Lake, Ontario hit negative 43.7 degrees Celsius. That is negative 46 degrees Fahrenheit, and 22 people lost their lives across the continent from cold-related causes. Roads were shut down, airlines canceled flights, schools closed for days at a time. Regular people were warned not to go outside for more than a few minutes without risk of frostbite. And in the middle of all of that, hundreds of thousands of long-haul truck drivers were still out on those same frozen highways, still hauling freight, still pulling into remote rest areas miles from the nearest town, and still falling asleep inside what is essentially a metal box, surrounded by air cold enough to kill an exposed person within an hour. So the question is this: how on earth do they do it? How does a truck driver park on a frozen highway in northern Minnesota or the Canadian Shield, turn off the engine, and not only survive the night, but actually sleep comfortably enough to drive safely the next morning? The answer involves German engineering, evolutionary biology, federal regulation, a very specific type of fuel chemistry, and one of the most underrated survival tools in the trucking industry that most people have never heard of. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you will understand all of it. And a few of the details are genuinely going to surprise you. Let's start with the thing that almost nobody talks about, because it changes the entire way you think about this problem. Most people assume the biggest challenge of sleeping in a frozen truck is the cold itself. And yes, the cold is serious. But the first real enemy is not temperature, it is time. A modern sleeper cab does not instantly become dangerous the moment the engine shuts off. It takes time to lose heat. And understanding how fast that process happens, and why, is the foundation of everything truck drivers do to manage winter nights. The physics here are straightforward. A truck cab has a large glass surface area relative to its interior volume. Glass transfers heat far faster than an insulated wall. The door seams, the windshield edges, the roof seals. Every one of those is a pathway for warmth to escape. And unlike a house, which has attic insulation, wall cavities, and a basement buffer between the living space and the frozen ground, a truck cab sits directly in the open air on all 6 sides. In a modern sleeper cab that has been pre-warmed to around 70 degrees Fahrenheit, interior temperatures will begin dropping noticeably within the first hour after engine shutdown in serious cold. By the 2 to 3 hour mark at negative 30 degrees Fahrenheit outside, the interior can be genuinely uncomfortable. By the 4 to 6 hour mark without any supplemental heat source, it can become medically dangerous. That window, the gap between engine shutdown and dangerous cold, is the problem that the entire industry has built solutions around. But before we get to those solutions, there is something about the cab itself that most people never think to ask about. And it is actually the most important layer of protection that exists. Modern long-haul sleeper cabs are not designed the way most people picture them. The big manufacturers, Kenworth, Peterbilt, Freightliner, Volvo, and Mack, have spent decades engineering their sleeper compartments to handle exactly the kind of conditions we are describing. The insulation inside a current-generation sleeper cab is significantly more sophisticated than what was in trucks even 20 years ago. Multi-layer thermal barriers in the walls, the floor, and the ceiling work together to slow the rate of heat loss substantially. The windows on modern trucks are double-glazed, which makes a measurable difference in thermal retention compared to the single-pane glass that was standard for most of the 20th century. But here is the detail that most people never think about. The physical location of the sleeping bunk inside the cab is not accidental. The bunk sits at the rear of the cab, furthest from the windshield and furthest from the doors. That positioning means it is surrounded on the most sides by insulated walls and exposed on the fewest sides to the exterior of the vehicle. The driver sleeping back there is in the warmest, most thermally protected zone of the entire truck. Experienced cold weather drivers understand this intuitively. They have felt it. Sitting in the driver's seat in January feels dramatically colder than lying in the bunk, even in the same truck at the same moment. The engineering put the sleeping area exactly where the physics demanded it should be. Now, with all of that said, insulation buys you time. It does not replace heat. And at negative 40 degrees, time alone is not enough. So what actually generates the warmth these drivers sleep in? This is where it gets genuinely interesting, and it starts with a choice that has real financial consequences every single day. The most powerful heat source on any diesel truck is the engine itself. When that engine is running, it generates an almost unmanageable amount of thermal energy, and the cabin heating system captures a portion of that energy through a coolant loop and pushes it into the cab through a heater core and fan. The result is fast, powerful, and effective. A running diesel can take a frozen cab from near freezing to comfortably warm in under 10 minutes. The problem is cost, and the numbers here are worth sitting with for a moment. A diesel semi-engine burning fuel at idle consumes roughly 2 to 4 gallons per hour depending on conditions and load. Across a single 10-hour rest period, that is 20 to 40 gallons of diesel, burned entirely while the truck sits still and moves no freight. At current diesel prices in the US, that is somewhere between $60 and $120 per night, per driver. Across a full winter season for a driver running 4 or 5 nights per week, that idle fuel cost alone can approach $8,000 to $12,000. That is not a rounding error. That is a significant portion of an owner-operator's annual margin, or a serious cost burden for any fleet managing hundreds of trucks. And here is the other piece most people do not know. In many parts of the US, idling that engine all night is actually illegal. More than 30 states have anti-idling regulations for heavy trucks. Many of those laws cap engine idle time at between 3 and 5 minutes when the truck is stationary. Not because lawmakers want truck drivers to freeze, but because of air quality regulations in populated areas. The enforcement varies enormously by location, but the laws are real and they have shaped what the industry uses for overnight heat in a fundamental way. So if you cannot idle the engine all night, or even if you can but simply cannot afford to, what do you actually use? The answer that North American fleets landed on, particularly over the last 2 decades, is called an auxiliary power unit. If you have ever looked closely at a parked semi and noticed a smaller, separate unit mounted near the back of the cab or tucked under the frame, that is almost certainly what you were looking at. An APU is a compact, self-contained diesel engine, much smaller than the main powertrain, that runs independently to supply electricity and climate control to the sleeper while the main engine is off. A typical unit produces somewhere between 5 and 15 kilowatts of power, which is more than enough to run the cabin heater, power outlets, a small refrigerator, and any other electrical loads the driver depends on. The fuel savings compared to idling the main engine are dramatic. Where the main engine burns 3 to 4 gallons per hour at idle, a well-maintained APU burns closer to 1 gallon per hour or less. Across a 10-hour rest period, that gap represents 15 to 30 gallons of diesel every single night. For a driver running year-round, a quality APU can pay for its own purchase price within a single year of operation through fuel savings alone. That is why adoption rates have climbed steadily, and why most major fleets now spec their long-haul trucks with APUs as standard equipment rather than optional extras. The APU does have a genuine limitation that experienced drivers will be the first to tell you about. It is a mechanical system, which means it can fail. And in the trucking world, there seems to be an unwritten law that the most critical piece of equipment always chooses to break down at the worst possible moment. A dead APU at -30 in a remote location is not just an inconvenience. It is a genuine emergency, which is exactly why experienced cold weather drivers never rely on a single system. Now here is the solution that most American drivers have not encountered, but that an entire continent of professional truckers cannot imagine driving without. In Europe, and particularly across Scandinavia, the standard answer to overnight heating is not an APU. It is something far simpler, far quieter, and arguably more elegant in terms of pure engineering efficiency. It is called a diesel parking heater, and if you have not heard of one before, you are about to understand why experienced long-haul drivers across Northern Europe and Canada consider them indispensable. The 2 brands that dominate this space are Webasto, founded in Germany in 1901, and Espar, which is the North American name for heaters made by Eberspacher, another German manufacturer with the roots going back to 1865. Both companies have spent over a century engineering precision combustion systems for vehicles. And their parking heaters are, in the context of cold weather truck operation, a masterpiece of doing more with less. Here is how they work. A diesel parking heater is a self-contained combustion unit, roughly the size of a large shoebox. It is installed in the truck, often beneath the cab or in a utility compartment. and it draws diesel fuel directly from the truck's main tank in very small quantities. It burns that fuel in a tightly controlled combustion chamber, uses the heat to warm either the cab's coolant system or to blow warm air directly into the sleeper, and exhausts cleanly outside the vehicle. The fuel numbers here are remarkable. A modern Webasto or SBAR unit running at partial output, which is all it needs for maintenance heating on most nights, consumes between 0.14 and 0.27 liters of diesel per hour. At full power in extreme cold, that rises to around 0.5 liters per hour. Compare that to a main diesel engine at 2 to 4 gallons per hour, and you begin to understand why these systems have become the standard in markets where overnight heating is treated as a critical safety requirement rather than a comfort option. In Scandinavia, these heaters are not aftermarket additions. They are factory-installed standard equipment on trucks destined for Northern European markets. Volvo and Scania build their sleeper cabs for customers in Norway, Sweden, Finland, and northern Russia, with the understanding that a parking heater is not optional in those climates. It is as fundamental to the vehicle as the brakes. One more important thing about these systems that most people do not realize. Because they draw from the main fuel tank, the question of fuel quality in extreme cold becomes critical. Diesel fuel is not a uniform substance. Standard diesel begins to thicken and gel at around -15 to -20 degrees Fahrenheit, forming a waxy consistency that can clog fuel lines and filters and prevent any fuel-burning system from operating. Experienced cold weather drivers address this in two ways. They switch to winter blend diesel when available, a formulation with a lower gelling threshold, and they add anti-gel fuel additives to their tanks before the temperature drops. Running a parking heater on gelled fuel on the coldest night of the year is, in the words of drivers who have experienced it, exactly as bad as it sounds. Beyond the equipment, there is a layer of this story that rarely gets discussed. The human habits, the routines, the accumulated knowledge that experienced cold weather drivers carry in their heads and never read in any manual. One of the most consistent practices among drivers who operate regularly in serious cold is what they call pre-warming the cab. Before shutting down the main engine for the night, they run the engine-based heating system long enough to get the interior genuinely hot. Not just comfortable, but warm enough that when the parking heater or APU takes over, it is maintaining heat rather than creating it from scratch. Starting a small heater in a cab that is already at 70 degrees requires a fraction of the energy needed to heat a cab that has already dropped to 40 degrees. This one habit alone meaningfully extends fuel efficiency and reduces mechanical stress on the supplemental heating system. The bedding is also not what most people would assume. A long-haul driver who regularly runs northern routes in winter does not sleep under a standard blanket and hope for the best. Most experienced cold weather drivers use sleeping bags, rated for temperatures well below what they expect to encounter. -20 or -30 degrees Celsius ratings are common, layered with additional thermal blankets. The logic is simple and serious. If the heating system fails in the middle of the night, the bedding is the last line of defense between the driver and a medical emergency. Clothing follows the same principle, like thermal base layers, warm socks, and sometimes a knit cap are completely normal sleeping attire for a driver who has spent a few winters learning the hard way that the cab is cold before the heater catches up. And then there is one piece of equipment that almost no outside observer would think to mention, but that experienced drivers treat with the same seriousness as a fire extinguisher: a carbon monoxide detector. This is not a precaution against the parking heater. These systems exhaust outside the cab and are designed specifically to prevent CO buildup. The risk comes from drivers who, either by choice or because their supplemental heating has failed, idle the main engine for warmth while parked in conditions where the exhaust can be partially blocked. Snow drifts against the exhaust stack, parking in partially enclosed spaces, or even wind direction in certain configurations can create situations where carbon monoxide enters the cab in dangerous concentrations. The gas is colorless, odorless, and works quickly. It is the danger in this entire scenario that receives the least attention and deserves considerably more. Now let's talk about where all of this is heading, because the answer creates one of the more interesting problems facing the trucking industry right now. Electric trucks are coming. That much is not in question. The Tesla Semi has been in limited fleet operation for over 2 years. Freightliner's e-Cascadia is on the road. Several major carriers have made public commitments to fleet electrification timelines, and the efficiency advantages of electric powertrains for certain freight applications are real and documented. But the winter heating problem for electric trucks is not solved. Not even close. A 2025-2026 study tracking more than 30,000 real-world electric vehicles confirmed that EV batteries lose between 22 and 45% of their usable capacity in freezing temperatures. For regular passenger cars, that is an inconvenience. For a long-haul truck that needs to cover 500 miles the next day and then park overnight again in similar conditions, it is a fundamental operational constraint. The problem compounds in a specific way that is worth understanding. In a diesel truck, the engine generates heat as a byproduct of operation, heat that is essentially free because it is captured from the combustion process and redirected into the cab. An electric drivetrain generates far less waste heat. So an electric truck parked overnight in negative 40-degree weather must draw energy directly from its battery to keep both the cab and the battery pack itself warm. That energy comes out of the range budget for the next day's drive. Current industry estimates suggest that overnight cabin heating in extreme cold conditions could consume 15 to 25% of a heavy truck battery's total capacity in a single night. For a truck that is already range-constrained compared to diesel, that is not a manageable number for remote route operations. The most credible short-term solution being discussed in the industry right now is exactly what you might expect: diesel parking heaters installed on electric trucks as supplemental heating systems. The same German engineering that has kept diesel truck drivers warm for decades would continue doing so even after the main powertrain electrifies. The irony of that outcome is not lost on the engineers working on the problem. So let us bring all of this back to where we started. January 2026. Negative 43 degrees in northern Ontario. 22 people dead across the continent from cold exposure. And hundreds of thousands of truck drivers still out there. Still sleeping in those cabs. Still waking up at 4 in the morning and pulling back onto that frozen highway because the freight has to move. How do they do it? They do it because of multi-layer thermal insulation engineered by manufacturers who understand that their trucks operate in conditions that would stop most other vehicles entirely. Because of German heaters that burn less fuel in an entire night than your car engine burns in 20 minutes of idling. Because of APUs that have quietly paid for themselves thousands of times over in saved diesel costs. Because of sleeping bags rated for temperatures colder than most Americans will ever experience. Because of carbon monoxide detectors that almost never get discussed, but represent the difference between waking up and not. Because of 30 years of accumulated driver knowledge about fuel additives and pre-warming, and the difference between the driver's seat and the bunk on a cold night. It is not one thing, it is a system. And it is a system that the trucking industry has been quietly building and refining for decades, largely invisible to the rest of us, to solve a problem that most people do not realize exists until a story like this one forces them to think about it. These drivers are moving the freight that stocks your grocery stores, your pharmacies, your hardware stores, in conditions that most people would not willingly stand outside in for 10 minutes. And tonight, somewhere on a frozen highway you have probably driven on in summer, one of them is doing exactly that. If this video opened up a part of trucking you had never thought about before, there is considerably more where this came from. The industry is full of these hidden engineering and human stories, problems that had to be solved under pressure in places nobody was watching, by people who did not get to wait for a perfect solution. Hit subscribe, and we will keep finding them.